everyone, welcome back to Real Reds Talk, the #1 independent fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. This is your weekly breaking news show. It is the 1st of November and we have some firecrackers joining us on the show today. Sam and Severe, how you doing, fellas?
Not too bad. Regular Tuesday.
I'm full of a cold, but yeah, it could be worse, but I'm alright,
Yeah, I don't think anyone likes a Tuesday, did I? It's not even like midpoint of the week where you can be like, right, just a couple more days and we're at the weekend. Tuesday is, B-Tech Monday, let's be honest. Have we got any plans for November, lads? Anything booked?
Well,
in at all?
we haven't mentioned it yet, but there is a link in the description if you're watching it on the VOD for our Movember campaign. So we are growing tashes and beards, and I think Souness is growing his hair out as well. I think that's what he's doing. So if you want to donate, raise some money for some charity, I think we're all picking a different charity. So I think mine's Mind. I think Adam's going with Christie's Cancer. The other lads will fill you in what they're picking. But yeah, all the money's going to charity. So if you want to donate, links in the description. I'll put some out on the socials as well, so you can sort of donate. But yeah, little fun thing. You can watch me and Nick grow a really terrible facial hair.
Yeah. And we're going to look like weird cavemen by the end of November. But obviously
I will look more like Jeffrey Dahmer than I already do.
Yeah. Cheers to that. Cheers to that. Yeah, good stuff. So on today's show, people, we're going to be discussing Graeme Souness and Jamie Carragher's agenda on the best centre-back in the league. And I'm not on about Rafael Varane. I'm on about another top centre-back. That is, of course, Lisandro. Casemiro, Dallo, Lisandro himself and Rashford have all been nominated for Player of the Month in October. We're going to reflect on the fixtures and the performances. And Palestri's agent is planning on an exit for his client after the World Cup, and we're going to get the lads' thoughts on that as well. So, as always, if you're new to the channel, please like the video and subscribe. I think we're currently on 715 subscribers at the minute, and we want to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So thank you for your continued support, and yeah, let's get the show on the road. So I want to start off with the two Scouse Wibblers. I think we all remember Jamie Carragher's comments after the Brentford game. He said Lisandro Martinez is too small, he'll never work out in the Premier League, he'll get found out, and he's not convinced. Basically, when he got asked on the overlap if he wanted to reconsider his comments, he said it's too early to judge yet, which completely contradicts his opinion in the first place. So, yeah, Jamie Carragher has been at it for a little bit. His Scouse mate, Graeme Souness, was recently on Talk Shit as well, laying into the butcher, suggesting once again he's too small, he lacks pace, he's not amazing on the ball, and obviously he had to mention Paul Pogba at the end because he just has to mention his name every time he's having a conversation. We know Talk Shit's model is clickbait, controversial opinion. So in a sense, they win to a certain degree because we're talking about it. But my question to you guys is, at what cost? Because they're controversial opinions, and it gets to a certain point where it becomes an agenda. And it certainly feels like an agenda with Lisandro Martinez at the minute. Even in the most recent game against West Ham, he had a pass accuracy of 92%. He won 100% of his ground duels, made 4 crucial blocks, and won 3 out of 4 aerial duels against West Ham's physical strikers. Where do you think this is coming from, Severe? What's the real reason behind his strong criticism of Lisandro Martinez?
Well, it's clearly an agenda. That's the way I see it. Because anyone who watches football or who's watched Lisandro Martinez play for us recently wouldn't make those kind of comments unless you had a biased agenda or unless you were biased. It's clear. So, I mean, some of the opinions. I mean, look, I understand everyone has their own different opinions on players. But one thing he said that I found absolutely ridiculous. He says he's going to be beaten, in the air occasionally, and he'll be beaten for pace occasionally. What defender doesn't get beaten occasionally? Like, do you understand? It's like, so then he's saying all these because he's asked if he still had the same opinions from the start of the season. And it's just clear that he knows he's being caught out and he doesn't want to give in. This is the whole Donald Trump syndrome thing. Like, he's never going to admit to being wrong about a player. And it's between that and just not knowing anything about football, or just not recognizing that football has evolved from central defenders just being typical defenders. Now you have central defenders who push higher up the pitch, central defenders who are very integral to the build-up play. And Lisandro is your typical sort of modern centre-back where he's left-footed, but he's gifted on both feet. He can ping a pass. He has vision. He snorts danger. He's complete. And the only thing that they can go about is like the height, the height thing, and it's ridiculous. So yeah, I understand how everyone was reacting to it, but I was just like, it's an agenda. They don't really know anything about football. It's one of the two, really.
Yeah, or both. Sam, I want to bring you in on this. Does it ever get to a point where they actually take the microphones off these people? Because we've heard likes of Agbonglahor, like, Webster for me. Webster's better than Varane. And
Webster all day.
Yeah, Webster all day for me. You've heard Souness saying Declan Rice is way ahead of Casemiro, and Casemiro's a steady Eddie. Lisandro's average. Like, how far-fetched can this actually get before someone fucking takes them off the air? Because it's getting ridiculous now, isn't it?
Until the viewing numbers and the clicks go down, it's just going to keep going. Like, as long as they're getting clicks, as long as they're getting views, as long as they're getting subscribers, whatever. Because they're perfect for the YouTube or the shorts or the social media clips, aren't they? Because they're a couple of minutes, you chuck it up. You don't need to do any sort of production or presentation with it. Just chuck it up and then catchy clickbait headline. Souness rips it, blah blah. Marketing 101, like it works every single time. So I don't think TalkSport present themselves as a culpable / regulatory independent type journalism. That's not what you're getting. You're getting opinion based, agenda driven football chat. That's what you're getting on TalkSport. Yeah, it's not the bastion of football tactic discussion and players and stuff like that. That's not what TalkSport is. Guys want to tune in, hear somebody talk about their team, get angry, ring up on the phone, go, my team's shit, or my team's the best team in the world. Like there's a guy on there who he's a Liverpool fan, and he calls up every fucking week. He said Liverpool are going to win the quadruple every week. Even now, he's still doing it. He's just like, this is the type of person they want to have on their program. They don't want to have discussions about tactical nuances. They don't want to have discussions about whether this player is suitable for this system, blah, blah, blah. They just want to attack or tear down or whatever it is. They just want to have that sort of discussion. That's what they want to do with TalkSport. So you have to get to a point, right? Have your anger, be annoyed, say your piece, but if you let it run your life and ruin your life, it kind of just, they win in the end. Graeme Souness has not had an intelligent thing to say about football in a long time. Like, he was on Sky Sports, and like you said, every single week he'd bring up Paul Pogba. Even if he wasn't playing, he'd bring Paul Pogba up. So we know what Graeme Souness is about. Jamie Carragher, I expect better of him, because sometimes he has some really valid opinions and some really valid analysis. Yeah. And then he does shit like this, and it's just like, Jamie, you're way better than that. Just you're letting your Liverpool bias cloud you there, and it's not a good look. And to say Casemiro has never been a great player is a ridiculous statement. Absolute ridiculous statement. Like
a steady Eddie.
A guy who's won 5 Champions Leagues, won God knows how many La Ligas, has been player with his best DM for the last 5 years, and he's not a great player. What the fuck does a player have to do to be a great player? Like, absolute bullshit.
You know what it is? Yes, because people easily get blinded by goals and assists and all this, but teams like that wouldn't survive or wouldn't function the way they do without the brilliance of people like Casemiro. So because what he said was he's just a steady Eddie, and then he says, I like Benzema. Benzema's a good player, obviously, because he scores goals. That's literally what he said. He's like talking about. So people get easily, they get easily blinded by the flashy stuff, and then forget about the brilliance of, football is not just about that. Like there's a lot of stuff that goes into the whole team functioning. You cannot be a steady Eddie at Real Madrid.
Nope.
And then they have, the fans, they are brutal. Like once they start waving the handkerchiefs, like that's it, you're done. Like you can't be a passenger in a team like that for 5 years.
They booed Gareth Bale. They boo Gareth Bale.
Yeah,
He's scored some ridiculous goals. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have any patience for none of that. So you can't be a passenger. It's ridiculous. And just very quickly speaking on Talksport, isn't this what they were going up against Arsenal Fan TV for? You know, the whole sensationalism and shock value, and this is what they were, you know,
It's basically
criticizing
based
Arsenal.
off their model, really.
Yeah,
Look at how they're doing
literally
it.
copy and paste, and that's what they're doing now. And I'm coming for YouTubers, but yeah, that's it, isn't it? So.
I find it crazy with Casemiro. This is a guy who's literally man of the match in the Champions League final. Like, Ten Hag describes him as the cement between the stones. He is the guy who glues the midfield, the creative midfielders, and the defence together. He's so important in that role. And easily, 100% in my... And this isn't even United bias. Is still one of the greatest DMs in the world right now. 100%. Alongside a couple of others. I think it's crazy as well because Graeme Souness played a similar position. Pretty sure he played. Obviously, back then it was like more like a box to box if he played as a central midfielder, but he played in a similar position. I want to ask why though. Why Lisandro in particular? Why do you think they're targeting him?
He's a United player. He's a United player.
Yeah, but they could have gone. I don't know. They could have gone with someone else, like a Rashford or someone like. Why
Lisandro's a new signing, isn't he? He's the new toy. United have signed a player who they probably know, like behind, off the screen and off air. They know how good he is. Like, they can see it. They see how good he is. They see what he's doing to United, the way he's changing our defence. And they're worried about Man United becoming a force again. And for me personally, like, I know it's biased because I'm a United fan. But I think when United are competing and challenging, I think it makes the rest of the league better. Because you get an extra dimension to the league. Because everybody hates United. Everybody, they hate United. They hated that we dominated for years. But when you've got City, Liverpool, Chelsea, United... Arsenal at the minute, I'm sure they'll drop off, but you've got all these people. I think that makes the league more interesting, better. But because we dominated for so long, and these teams have just sort of, they've almost got PTSD. People who used to support these other teams of United just dominating. They're afraid of it, and they see this manager's changed this entire team's philosophy, their attitude, the mentality. He's changed everything. He's brought players in who have hit the ground running. Every single one of them has absolutely smashed it out of the park, and they're worried. And then you add in the Liverpool bias on top of that. The fact that they can't... Why is nobody talking about Darwin Núñez? Not a single person. He's not scoring. Yeah. He's missing sitters every fucking week. And he cost £80 million. And I've not heard a single TalkSport person talk about him. Not a single one. Like,
this was going to be my next question to survey. I don't want to kind of go down conspiracy road here. But the fact that Liverpool are doing so bad at the minute, they are not the team that it was last year, certainly. Do you think it's anything to do with that, taking the shine off Liverpool and getting the media attention around Lisandro, his height, Casemiro?
I'm not surprised if that's it, but I think with Lisandro is they made very bold statements when we signed him at the start of the season, and he's proven them wrong now. So now they're being questioned on those bold statements that they made, and they don't have any backup. They don't have any comeback to these new questions. Like, well, you guys said such and such, and they don't have anything to come back on. That's why they sound more and more ridiculous, because what he was saying was he's still going to get found out. This is what Souness said, as part, during the conversation. Yeah, he's doing all right now, and I think they said something like it's only been 11 or 12 games, or something like that. Like, so it's almost as if they're waiting for him to fail. Because they made such bold statements at the start of the season. And if you flip that, all of them probably had Liverpool in the top 4 at the start of the season. They all had them challenging at the start of the season. It was going to be Darwin Núñez versus Erling Haaland. Liverpool were amazing. Everything was just going to be fine and dandy. Now everything's is turning around. They don't want to be called up on that as well, but that's going to come back. Like, we don't forget, the internet doesn't forget. Like, these internet streets, like, we have everything. So they're going to have to answer for that at some point. But I think that's just what it is. I don't understand why you can't just own up to making a wrong. Like, nobody's going to sue you. Or like what's wrong with say, listen, I was wrong about this, and he's proven me wrong. Fair play. Like, they even gain more credibility by it.
People would respect them more, wouldn't they?
People would respect them more if they did that. Like, I don't understand why you can't just hold up your hands. I mean, we've all It's
what it
egos.
is.
We've all been wrong. And what this shows me is that I don't even respect what former players, their opinions anymore. Well, thanks to these guys, because no, seriously, because a couple of years ago, you would always think that former players they had better insight to what it was to be a footballer. Probably they had some, insight into the game. They don't know anything. They don't know any much more than we do. From what we're seeing. So
For
I
me,
think that's what it is.
For United players especially, like Paul Scholes with Ronaldo and Roy Keane, like just talking utter shite, just like absolute shite.
Rio was another one as well.
And the thing is, I love these guys. Like Paul Scholes is probably like my second or third favorite United player. But the fact is, and I say this with all due respect, but the fact is, what he lasted 3 months at Oldham, I think, as manager or something like that. So I mean, if you're going to criticize someone with that record, I mean, with your record, I don't know.
I mean, even Graeme Souness as a manager was shocking. Went to Turkey, failed there, managed numerous clubs. I mean, absolutely shocking. I feel like TalkSport are that easy to read now. Go on.
There was one statement Graeme Souness, Jamie Carragher side. Jason Cundy said something on TalkSport. He said Erik Ten Hag is just Ole Gunnar Solskjaer bald. Yeah. That is a shocking fucking statement to say.
I didn't even hear this. When did he say this?
It was like a couple of about 2-3 weeks ago, something like that. He's just Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in a bald cap. It's fucking how I don't understand how you can watch United and think that is all the same as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. Sorry, Nick.
Nobody has survived the kind of games nobody has had the kind of games that we've had so far in the league. We've played everyone. We've played traditional toxics and Liverpool and Newcastle. Anyway, let's not even get into that.
Well, we are going to get into the shortly in October's fixtures and stuff. But yeah, look, I think TalkSport are very easy to read. I feel like they're waiting for a moment where Lisandro, maybe someone gets a header at the back post, like I don't know, like an Ivan Toney or someone, and you just know they're going to jump all over it and Souness, you was right, Carragher was right all along, blah blah blah, and I think it's just gonna carry on really until the end of the season. He's probably gonna have to do it season in season out before they actually admit the wrong, if they ever do that. One last thing as well, I'll just put this out there. Jamie Carragher played in the exact same position as Lisandro Martinez, and he's 2 inches taller than him, and he's not even half the player Lisandro is. He might be more successful at the minute in terms of what he's won, but as a player, not even half the player he is. So he's just projecting his insecurities on him, to be honest.
Maldini, Baresi, both 5'9", two of the best defenders.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Ever played a game.
Cannavaro.
Yeah.
Cannavaro. What's the guy that was at Chelsea, the Portuguese guy? Carvalho. Carvalho. He must have been like 5'10", something like that.
I mean, Souness actually said in his thing, I don't remember a defender in my era. Baresi.
Yeah, in my era.
These guys, man. Yeah. But the issue is with it, because it's such a big platform.
Yeah.
People actually take their opinions on. People who might not know much about football might not think, they'd be like, "Oh, he's right." Actually, if a big player's saying it, that must mean it's right.
Also, because he's a former player, like Severe said, people think he has some sort of authority because he's a former player. Yeah. But it doesn't mean shit. There's so many players who have such shite. Gabby Abonlo, he's got awful fucking football opinions. Awful.
It's just bitterness, Sam, from that League Cup final. That's what it is when we smoked him. That's all it is.
Talking about how to win trophies when he won fuck all. Absolutely ridiculous.
Anyway, we'll move on from the TalkSport triple.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. On to Player of the Month awards and a little reflection on October, if you will. A few stats here on United in October: 9 games, 6 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss, 16 goals scored, 10 goals conceded, 5 clean sheets. In that month, we played West Ham, Sheriff, Chelsea, Spurs, Newcastle, Ammonia twice, Everton, and City. So a pretty tough run, bar the Europa League games. Overall, reflecting on October, Severe, you happy with the progress Ten Hag's made so far?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I've always said it from the start of the season that, I don't want us to be, we don't need to be, top three, or it's a slow process. There's very few managers that would do what this manager is doing with the crop of players that we have, the way we started the season. Not just the decisions he made on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. So I'm really happy with what we've done. Where we've gone to, West Ham has always been a banana slip. Everton away has always been a tough one. Newcastle in their current form, I mean, we could have easily won that game. Even Chelsea, So I'm really happy with the progress we've made. No complaints from me about that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Pep Guardiola, Sam said in one of his, I don't know if it's a post-match interview or pre-match or whatever, but he said that United look like they're on the way back. How much of that might be a bit of mind games, or he might be genuinely honest, because obviously he used to work with Erik Ten Hag. Does it feel to you now he's starting to stamp his philosophy on this team, and there's a lot of, are you absolutely positive in the direction that it's going?
Yeah, I think we saw it after the Brentford game, when that story came out about making them run, was it 16 kilometers or
36.
36, sorry, even more.
36.
Yeah. 36
and he ran
kilometers.
with them as well.
Yeah, exactly. When I heard that, I'm like, okay, this guy's something different. He's clearly so unhappy with his team that he's making them run this, and he's doing it with him, which adds another dimension to it. Like, he's not just like barking orders like Conte was doing to Spurs at pre-season. He ran him into the ground and you saw him like almost passing out. He's not doing that, whereas Ten Hag ran those guys. He's not a young guy, Ten Hag. Like, he's not that young. Like, what is he? He's 50s. Yeah, it's like, so it's a long fucking way to run, like, in your 50s. Especially when you're not an elite athlete playing week in, week out as well. So that's when I was like, okay, this guy's a little different. And then he's got added credibility on top of credibility. So he's improved players who last season were absolutely shocking. Luke Shaw, Marcus Rashford playing absolute bits. Diego Dallo, who wasn't as bad last season, but he's improved leaps and bounds. Anthony Martial, before he was out injured, improved massively. So all these players that were absolutely terrible and we were all ready to just go, like, get him just fucking out of this club, he's improved. So that's another layer of credibility. Now he's brought in players and bought players, and they've hit the ground running. Casemiro, Eriksen, Lisandro Martinez, Malacia. He's brought players in who are absolutely fantastic. There's another layer of credit. Like, he just keeps adding to things and making himself even more credible. And then I think as time goes on, he'll just keep doing that. Like you said, the West Ham game last season, we probably would have either drawn or lost that game in that last 10 minutes. Definitely would have happened. Chelsea game, we would have been battered, I think, last season, like in the second half.
Or we wouldn't have come back from the 1-0 down. Like, that would have been game over when they got the penalty.
Exactly. So, yeah, there's so many things that he's changed about this club, on the pitch and off the pitch, the attitudes, the mentality, everything about it. He's cementing himself already, and he's not even had a full season yet. He's already cementing himself as a United sort of manager who's to be taken seriously. Because Louis van Gaal had the credibility in terms of stuff he's done, but I think he was a little odd in the way he managed the players and stuff like that. He was a bit too sort of out there. Even though Wayne Rooney said he's one of the best managers.
He was a dinosaur at club level. At club level, Louis van Gaal can win you a tournament. Yeah. Right, but then over a league.
And then Mourinho was great back in the day, but again, he's outdated and he chucks people under the bus very easily, and it just doesn't work. Ollie was trying to be the friends, and again, these players just took advantage of that and was like, well, if he's going to be our mate, we ain't going to do shit. So it's just, he's changed the entire philosophy of the club, and I can't wait to see how it goes the next couple of years, the next couple of seasons he's with us, because if he's doing this already, it's going to be great things coming if he carries on.
Yeah,
and he's done it in some big games.
Can I add something quickly about what Guardiola said? What actually impressed me about that was he was referring also to the football. So it's not just, it wasn't just an empty statement, oh, Manchester United is come back. No, he said he watched the first half of the Chelsea match and he noticed a few things. and that was what he made him think, well, okay, I see what these guys are doing. So this is what Guardiola said, and for me, that was the reassuring thing because um, it wasn't just one of those, oh yeah, I don't think he was carried away by results or stats or anything. It was the football that he watched that he was impressed with. So that was a big thing for me.
Well, you mentioned a game like Chelsea there, and obviously Pep's the manager of Manchester City. What have you taken away yourself from the big games that we've played under Eric Ten Hag? Like, what's impressed you the most about it?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that we apart from the City game, the game against Arsenal, the game against Tottenham, and the game against Chelsea was us trying to play our style of football. So it wasn't like I enjoyed the wins with Ole where we would sit back, but then we tried to play our game of football. So even against Chelsea, I remember we always tried to play out from the back, and we were beating the press. So for me, that's with when it comes to the big teams, I want to see a performance. I would take a shameless win at West Ham, like a 1-0, just to get the 3 points. But with the big teams, I want to see a good performance, and he's showing that the team is able to play with confidence. Not only that, we're able to hold our own. So when we got one goal down against Arsenal, and it got cancelled, I was a bit worried because seasons prior to that was we would always go to shambles once a goal goes in or once the other team is playing well. But we've been able to maintain our style of play and still, be dominant or at least try and attempt to be dominant when we play teams that have equal quality with us. That's a huge thing for me because last season against the top six, our record was, we shipped 9 against Liverpool. I think we shipped like 6 against Man City, home and away last season. We lost to Arsenal. Yeah. So yeah, that's a big thing for me now that we have a style of play and we try to implement it regardless of the opposition.
Pinning Chelsea back at Stamford Bridge in them first 35 minutes, I was even taken back by that. And I was like, whoa, What is going on here? And you can see that Ten Hag slowly but surely inserting them kind of key principles into the squad and sticking by it and playing proactive football. Now we have a run of fixtures time against teams that are kind of near the bottom of the table or lower ranked teams, who in the past have troubled us with low blocks, especially under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Are you confident now going into them we have enough chance creation in the team and style of play to kind of negate them tactics?
I think chance creation, sure. Tactics it's our finishing that's letting us down at the minute. That's our major issue. I don't have a fear that we won't create chances because the quality of the players that Ten Hag's brought in, the style that he plays, I think that's all positive. I think finishing is where we suffer, and that's with the good news that Anthony Martial's back in training, so hopefully comes back into the fold because somebody like him with his finishing ability and his link-up play and all that sort of stuff that he does is sorely being missed in the system currently, with Ronaldo being, whether you want to label it out of form or he's on the decline, whatever you want to sort of label it. I think Rashford is probably our best forward at the minute in terms of form, in terms of goal scoring and stuff like that. But again, I think his best possession is on the left. I think that's where he plays best. So, yeah, if we get Martial back and firing and hopefully he doesn't get injured again, because that would be a severe blow if he does get injured again. I don't know if...
I don't know if you meant that pun there, but a severe blow.
I didn't, but I'll take it. I didn't, but I'll take it. So yeah, I'm confident. Obviously, last year, these were the teams where we slipped up against, the sort of lower ranked teams. We always suffer. We couldn't break them down if they played the low block, couldn't create enough, all that sort of stuff. But we seem to be able to do that now. But yeah, we just need to sort our finishing out. If players start finishing opportunities, I'm sure we'll be fine. But yeah, if we can win, what have we got? We've got Aston Villa, Fulham, and who else have we got? Are they only 2?
Well, obviously we've got Sociedad, Villa in the cups, but in the Premier League, I think Fulham, Villa. Is there one more in there? I'm sure there's one more in there as well, but I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, so if we can put them to bed, then our top 4 chances are looking really, really good. Because we've beaten the big teams, like Sevilla said. We've beaten Liverpool, beaten Arsenal. We took a point from Chelsea. we've done the big games. So if we can do the smaller teams and the teams lower down in the table, that makes great opportunity for us. That's a great chance for us to make top four, which I don't expect us to do this year, but it's not going to do our chances any harm if he does sort of win these games.
I think Martial getting back into the squad is going to significantly help with that, honestly.
Yeah.
Because you've seen how much Ten Hag talks about him, and I think that's something I'd focus on in press conferences and stuff like that. Every time he's asked about him, he's like, look how good he was in pre-season. And we've had to go, with the start of the season without kind of starting and stuff. And it seems like he's a vital kind of piece to Ten Hag's system. So I'm super excited to see how he gets on when he gets back. Obviously, he's back in training now. We'll touch on that a little bit later on. I want to talk about the Player of the Month nominees. We've got Lisandro, Casemiro, Dalot, and Rashford. They've obviously all had a great month, Severe, but out of them players in particular, who has really stood out for you personally?
Tough choice, that, isn't it? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's a tough choice, man. Because
that's what I'm here to ask the tough questions.
Oh boy.
Who's
it would have to be. It would have to be one of the three out of Casemiro, Lisandro, and Dalot, because Rashford hasn't been as consistent. Even though he's been brilliant, and I hope we can talk about him a little bit further in the stream. Lisandro has gotten to the point where he puts a 9 out of 10, and that's just regular. Like, that's just normal for him to do. Like, But I think we have to give Dalot his flowers. I might have to go with Dalot on this one because we don't have a backup, and we've really, really relied on Dalot this season, and he's come through just about every single time. So if we're talking about this month, don't remember when he had a really bad performance. The last time I remember was
Danjuma. That's what I can remember.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna have to give it to Dalot because not only is he really good going forward, but one of his biggest criticisms before was his defensive abilities. And now we're beginning to see what's happening in training, because it's not a coincidence that he's cleared off. Those 2 headers he made against was it Chelsea? West Ham.
Oh, what? The West Ham, yeah.
Yeah. We've seen that. We saw a few clearances against Arsenal. We've seen there's something is actually happening in training, and he's picking up on that, and he's becoming a really good defender now, where you can actually rely on his defensive capabilities, and it's not just him going forward and putting in a cross. I think I'm going to have to give it to Dalot. I know Casemiro's done really well, but it's a tough one. It could be. There's a genuine case for all 3 of them, but I'll just give it to Dalot.
Absolutely. And I think what I touched on before when I was saying with Anthony Martial, when Ten Hag talks about him, he's kind of glowing, and he always mentions specific things. And if you remember, before Ten Hag was even fully through the door, he was glowing about Dalot. You heard loads of things coming out about it, saying how much he wants to keep him, how impressed he is, because there was always stuff coming out about him leaving, maybe going Barcelona, back to AC Milan or whatever. But he's obviously a key player, and he's been phenomenal this month. Who's your pick, Sam? Do you think out of that bunch?
I mean, I can't argue with Severe's pick with Dalot, but for me, I think Lisandro Martinez is head and shoulders above. Every single game I watch him, I go, how can he be better than the last game? And he seems to be able to find a way to do it. Every single game is pure quality. His passing is spot on. His management of the defence is fantastic. And it doesn't matter who plays next to him either, it seems. Varane, Lindelof, Maguire puts in 9 out of 10 performances every single time. So he's unbelievable.
And that's what makes it difficult, because you've just come to accept that from him.
Yeah.
So it's not like, do you understand? So it's not like he's out, he's ridiculously outstanding. It's just, this is what he does. So it's just him doing Lisandro things. But
and then also his personality as well has won me over. Like, even if he wasn't as good as he is, which he is, his personality is fantastic. He fucking gets it. He gets being a Man United fan. He gets the passion. He gets the fight and the will to want to be a Manchester United player. He gets it. Like we saw it at Chelsea when he jumped into the crowd head first and was grabbing a fan by the back of the head, screaming at him. And then that tweet came out later saying, I don't know who you are, but we're in this together. And the guy replied saying, I love you. Like, it's fucking... He gets it. He's fucking amazing. And then when he was walking off at West Ham, the fans were chanting Argentina at him, and he's just clapping, hitting the badge, absolutely loving every minute of it. This dude fucking gets it, and long may it continue, because I absolutely adore the guy. I think he's one of the best sort of defenders we've signed in a long, long time. He's absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, Dalot or him and Casemiro, like Severe said, any of them, I'd happily go, yeah, they deserve it. But for me personally, Lisandro Martinez. Also, just touch on Dalot situation. Ten Hag said something really interesting. He said we need to have two really good fullbacks or wingbacks to sing.
Yeah.
That is a damning indictment on Aaron Wan-Bissaka, isn't it? And Brandon Williams. That basically means they are fucking done in this team, because he's going, I need two right backs. I've only got one at the minute. So
very strong statement, that, innit? If you're one of them players you're looking at, thinking,
get your agent on it, mate, because you're fucking going. And it's over.
I feel like he'd rather play a one-legged Dalot legit at the minute. Like he
plays a one-legged Malacia on the right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, because Malacia has only got a left foot. Like, I mean, he's got a right that he'd rather play Malacia on the right wing than bring on Wan-Bissaka, or I don't know if there's an injury situation there. I think they said it.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Yeah, no, he did say he said everyone's back. But I don't know. I don't know.
I see Scunthorpe in the cup. That's the only games they're gonna get. Honestly, I'm not even just like, I'm not taking a piss. I think legit they're the only games games you're gonna get. We've only got a couple now.
He's not even getting Europa League, did he? Like, you think he'd get an opportunity in Europa League, and he's not gotten it.
Crazy. We mentioned Marcus Rashford in that kind of group there. I did have a couple of questions on Marcus Rashford, because I'm keen to get your insights on him. How refreshing is it, Severe, to see Rashford running at players again, full of confidence, looking physically like at peak level at the minute? Yeah, just chat to me about Rashford, man, because he's come on leaps and bounds since last. I watched his interview before, after the Europa League. I think it's after the Europa League final, where he's got his mask on. He's like, I promise you, everyone in there is fighting for it. We will be back one day. Obviously, seems like a very, very long time ago that now, but he has come on leaps and bounds, hasn't
he? Yeah, I've been one of Marcus Rashford's strongest supporters and heaviest criticizers as well. I really, really criticized him last season, but then I feel, we all fail to realize that this guy, he's just turned 25 or 24.
Yeah, 25.
Yeah. But when he burst into the scene, that weekend when he made his debut. Well, he made his debut on the Thursday, played Arsenal on the Saturday, and he wrote his GCSEs on Monday.
Yeah.
So this guy was a kid when he came in. Under Louis van Gaal. Ever since Van Gaal left, this guy hasn't had like a proper he hasn't had any coach to like coach him. You see, this is where players need that development, when you have a coach to properly to focus on you and where you can grow underneath. And he had Jose Mourinho. We all know his record with youth. He had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's a nice guy, probably
not
a good man
not
manager.
A proper coach though, is there?
He's not an elite coach. Like, he's not in that sort of bracket of like Pep, Klopp.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, it was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Kieran McKenna, and Michael Carragher. And I love all three of them, but like, they're not the people to develop, a young player. So Marcus Rashford, when he needed, guidance and direction the most, didn't have any. This is the first time we're actually seeing him under a proper manager. And what have we seen? This guy's using his head.
Yeah, when did he learn that? Where's that come from?
Well,
it tells you, that just tells you what's happening in training. They're trying. Listen, this guy, you've got the height, you've got the athleticism, and they're trying to train that into him. So this is what's giving me. I'm so happy with what's happening now, because now he's getting a lot more confidence. He tried the header against Newcastle, it didn't work. He tried it against West Ham, the first one, keeper saved it, and he scored with the second one. We're going to see a lot more than that. And I think that Marcus Rashford has the ability to be used as a number 9, because I think Ten Hag has the ability to coach players. Like, I mean, this is a guy who's been, he's turned all sorts of players into like proper world beaters, like from, what's his name?
Halle?
Okay.
Was you going to mention?
Yeah, Halle. Yeah, so Halle was with him at Utrecht and then went to West Ham and then he brought him back and
Tadic.
look what he did to him.
Tadic as well.
Tadic, all sorts of players. So like, there's plenty of hope for Marcus Rashford, and I'm so happy with what's happening because what you're seeing is coaching. This is where coaching really. It's not just about the tactics and all that. And now we're seeing players really, really improving because the coaching. They have proper tacticians, proper managers, and people who can actually build players. This is what Sir Ferguson was really good at as well, because I guarantee you. It was between Manchester United and Arsenal for Cristiano Ronaldo. If he went to Arsenal, all due respect to Arsene Wenger is amazing, but Ronaldo wouldn't be what he is now if he went to Arsenal. Sir Ferguson had a massive role in Ronaldo's development, and I think Ten Hag will have a very similar impact on Marcus Rashford.
He has similar traits to Sir Alex in terms of like attention to detail. We've all heard about Ten Hag. He wants the grass a certain length. He wants certain things. Like he has all these restrictions. And I think I was listening to Rio the other day, and he was speaking about Sir Alex would know stuff that was bizarre that he knew it. He doesn't know how he found this out. So he knew what his granddad's favorite drink was, like his favorite alcohol. And his granddad's birthday happened, and his granddad rang Rio up and was like, this case of like this drink has showed up at my house from Sir Alex. Like, how the hell does he know what my favourite drink is? Right. And then Rio went into training, and Sir Alex pulled him, and it was just like, oh, did your granddad get the birthday gift I sent? And it's just, that is mental that he's gone out and found out his granddad's favourite drink and got it for his birthday. Like, that's the kind of sort of detail you're dealing with when you have these top managers, like the level of detail they work at. And I think Ten Hag's in that mould. He is so focused on little things, little increments and improvements that then add up to a lot. Like, who knew Marcus Rashford could head a ball? We were saying for years he's not good in the air. He's not great in the air. He's better at running behind. Now he's scored 2 headers.
Power headers, look at that. And then, but just very quickly about Ten Hag, like when he signed for United before he came. Obviously, all the fans were, I was going crazy online. I was trying to read everything about him. And I watched a former player at Utrecht who was also at Go Ahead Eagles, I think. And he was saying that the first couple of, the first season or so might be tough. But he was saying that Ten Hag makes you do things over. Like he's a perfectionist. He makes you do stuff over and over and over again. And at first, you'd be like, what the hell is this guy doing? And then after a couple of months, you start to realize, and that everything becomes almost like second nature to you. When it comes to applying what he's been instilling in you, and this is why you see and he was like all the individual. I wish I remember his name. I forgot, but he was like all the individual performances just improved, and they knew, they weren't going to have him for too long at Utrecht before he moved on to for Ajax came for him. So that's just one of those things. Like if Rashford, I mean, we're going to see a lot from players like that.
I think a lot of the credit as well should go to. I wish I could remember the coach's name who came in, South African
Benny McCarthy.
Guy. Benny McCarthy.
Yeah.
Benny McCarthy, who's obviously came in, worked with the attacking players. I know we haven't been scoring goals in abundance in a lot of the games. It's kind of been 1-1s, 0-0s or whatever, but you can see just looking at Rashford, that has to have something to do with it. He's an attacking coach. He's getting in the right areas. He's scoring headed goals now. So I think he deserves some of the credit as well. Sticking with the attackers, lads, a young attacker in our ranks, Facundo Palestre. His agent, Edgardo La Salvia, I think that's how it's pronounced. He says, I think that with a goodwill cup, as we think he will have, his departure from Manchester United is imminent. I want to come to you on this first, Sam, because this is a topic you've spoken about for a good few weeks now in terms of lack of a chance for young players getting into the squad. Clearly, Palestre is a player who believes he should be getting more game time. Do you believe he should be getting more game time?
He's not shown anything for United yet in terms of he demands a starting spot. Obviously, he's not had the opportunity because he was out on loan previously, so he's not really yet had the opportunity. He's shown glimpses of stuff, he's shown moments, but I don't think that's enough to demand a first team or a rotation spot in United yet. I think the next in line to get a spot or to get a rotation is clearly Garnacho. Ten Hag clearly is like, this is the next one to be fed into the team, because we're still not seeing much from Zidane Iqbal, not seeing much from Charlie Savage, Charlie McNeil, etc. Ahmad's obviously got out, your favourite player, Nick, he's gone out on loan. Players, Tenan Mengi, I think he's back training, so I don't know what he had plans for him. I don't know if he's going to go out on loan or he's going to be around the first team. Alvaro Fernandez, Ethan Laird are both out on loan, doing really well. So clearly Garnacho's the next one to be fed into the squad. And look, if Pellistri thinks he deserves VC's spot, then credit to him that he expects that of himself. But I don't think he's going to get it this season. He's not going to get the opportunity this season. If he wants to learn under Ten Hag, he's going to have to be patient. And you never know, an injury might happen. Anthony might get injured, Rashford, Sancho, somebody like that, and then he might get an opportunity at that point. Or
that's what happened with Rashford, wasn't
yeah,
it?
exactly. So maybe he gets opportunity, or he asks for a loan if he wants to. Maybe he doesn't want to go out on loan again, but if you want first team football, that might be the option. If he wants to leave permanently, then that's on him, I guess. He's not shown me anything as of yet that makes me think we need to keep this guy. Absolutely, he played really well for Uruguay when he's playing international football. He seems to play really well. But yeah, for me, I've not seen anything as of yet. He could well develop into a fantastic player for all I know. But it'd be a shame to lose him, because I would love to see what he can do for us. But if he's that insistent on leaving, then we need players that want to be here and who want to fight for the place. And if he's not willing to do that, then cool, sayonara, man. Have a good career.
Yeah, we've seen many players come and go like that. I'm not sure if you've seen much of him yourself, Survey, or watched him for the national team. Seems to play relatively well for Uruguay when he has played there. Although he did struggle on loan with is it Alvarez or Alaves or something. I think he played 12 games in his first loan spell. Failed to notch a goal or assist. Then he went on loan again for the 20-21 season. Had 22 more games, but again failed to notch an assist or a goal, and was only played for 673 minutes, which equates to around things about 7.5 matches. So again, another unsuccessful loan spell, which did little to kind of aid his development. Should a player be pushing to move based on this kind of output? Pushing to be played, should I say?
It's really, well, first of all, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know anything about Pellistri. I don't. The only thing I know about him is pre-season. And he looks all right. He looks decent. He looks eager. But we don't know anything. These are the guys who see him in training. I keep saying this to you guys. There's a lot that goes on in training that we don't see, we don't know about.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ten Hag definitely has his reasons as to why he hasn't played him. Maybe he's not the mode of player that he needs, or that would do well for the team. It could be that as well. And I don't blame Pellistri for trying to find a move. He's a young player. He's highly rated. And if he feels he needs to get game time somewhere else, then yeah. It's really hard to judge a player off like a spell at a team like Alaves, because I mean, if you got shit players around you, you're probably going to be shit as well. Players who probably don't care that much about you because you're just some pretty boy from Manchester to come and, it's like, this is you're not just coming to walk into the team. Like, they'll make it difficult for you. They'll probably make it they'll make your life hell if they don't like you, So I really don't know much about the guy. I know Shiraz probably knows his birthday.
He's watched every minute of every game, Shiraz.
Yeah. But it's easy to get carried away because he's got the real nice, sexy name, and you can imagine that's the kind of name you like, But
Pellistri.
To be a realist, Pellistri, But let's just be realistic about it. I mean, we've had quite a few of them. Angelo Henriquez, I don't know if you guys remember that guy.
It rings a bell.
From Chile.
It rings a bell.
Yeah, from Chile. We've had quite a few of them come through.
Giuseppe Rossi, you remember them? The Italian.
Takeda.
Yeah. Although I don't know what the hell is wrong with Pellistri. Like, how does he play for Uruguay national team when he doesn't kick a ball?
I don't know. Options, I think. I don't think they've got a strong right-sided midfielder.
That guy is from a massive family or something.
They're too best. Their
He's from
two
some
best
cartel
players.
kind of family where.
Yeah, mob
Sorry?
ties.
Their two best players is an aging, decrepit Edison Cavani and racist Luis Suarez. Like that's their two best players. So their lack
Uruguay
of
has bowlers, man. He's
Nah,
got
nah,
Ben,
Valverde,
is
bro.
he
Valverde,
Uruguayan?
yeah.
Oh shit! I
Yeah,
didn't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that. I thought
Bentancur is Uruguayan as well. They've got ballers. Well, ballers like in Serie A and what you call it in La Liga as well. That guy's family must be in the cartel because you can't tell me,
cartel.
out of all the players, even in
Yeah.
Uruguay, like, come on. But yeah, to keep it straight to the point. Yeah, if we can get some money for him, fine. Like it's the best move for both sides. Like he needs to go. We need the money, and he can go on further his career because there's no point of you just hanging around when you know that we're going to strengthen and he's going to go further down the pecking order.
Sell
Just
it.
hope we can get some.
Sell him.
Yeah.
Use the money to go get Gakpo. There you go. Problem solved.
You're not
Yeah.
getting, yeah, but you're not getting that. You're not getting Gakpo.
No, but like put the money towards getting Gakpo. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Every little helps, man.
Yeah.
Every little
Yeah,
helps.
I've heard that phrase somewhere. Anyway,
That's
I
cool.
want to. Yeah.
Copyright infringement. Copyright
For anyone who
infringement.
doesn't know, it was Tesco. Oh no, it's not Tesco. It's Asda, in it.
Yeah. No, it's Tesco.
Tesco. Yeah.
The advert-
As
Tesco.
there was as the price, and then they tapped the pocket.
Oh
Yeah,
shit!
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're right. You're
The
right.
the TV ad when they're giving people vouchers. The guy goes, £5. Yes, please. Every little helps.
Smashed it. I think you found your avenue.
You can tell me a Shiraz work in marketing, can't you?
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen with Leicester. We've got a player in our ranks currently at the minute, Jadon Sancho, who was frustrated with his lack of game time, wasn't getting played by City. He ended up going over to Germany and then becoming a star over there. So maybe Palestri might follow a similar route. Who knows? Let's see what happens. I've got a last couple of questions to ask just before we head off. Not really like within the same topic, but I'm just curious to know your thoughts. Martial back in training. Do you think he'll start against Sociedad, or do you think he'll have a little cameo? Like, what are your expectations?
Is that me or Severe, that one?
Yeah, I think.
Anyone?
Yeah. He can be on the bench and then just come on if needed, because there's no point rushing him back. And then he gets injured again. We've managed to come this far without him, basically. So I would be cautious unless he's like proper, like fully fit. Then then they can play him. But I think he'll be on the bench. And also, Ten Hag doesn't really rush people back in. We've seen that he likes to ease them in.
Very methodical, innit, with how he brings them back.
He eases people in. I think the only person who went straight into the team was Anthony, and that's because obviously he has previous knowledge of the player. Played him for 2 years. He knows him, so he knows what he can do. Anthony was already playing as well, so yeah. Keep him on the bench if we need him, then he comes on. But let's just go with what we have for now and preserve him.
I severely hope he doesn't get injured again. Sam, what about yourself? Would you start him or would you kind of wean him in?
I'd keep him on the bench, like Severe said. If we score 2 goals, don't we, against Sociedad to top the group. So say it's 1-0 and we need a goal last 15 minutes or something. Bang him on, see what he can do, see if he can get us that second goal. But like Severe said, we've done well without him so far, so let's not rush him back and then re-injure him and then keep him out for another God knows how long, because we're in severe need of a striker right now, and Anthony Martial could be the solution to our problems at the minute, so we don't want to re-injure the guy.
So will Cristiano Ronaldo be in our predicted 11s? Who knows? Tune in for the preview tomorrow, 6:30. We'll be live for that. Any players back from injury who you would like to see more before we head off to the World Cup in particular? Severe, I have a feeling I know you. Yeah. Thought you might say that.
Van der Beek.
Does he play against Villa for you?
Fernandes is injured. Oh, sorry, Fernandes is
suspended.
Suspended.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be Fred and Eriksen.
What about Fred as a 10?
Oh God, no, not again! Don't do that.
Not again. No, we don't need that. But yeah, let's. I don't understand what that was all about.
It was
I
to
don't think anyone did.
It was to
be
do
honest.
Ronaldo's pressing. Apparently, that's what
Yeah.
he was there for. That's what he was there to do. He was to do Ronaldo's pressing for him.
Yeah, that was a method
Yeah,
of madness.
I didn't get that. Yeah. So no, same thing. I don't think Donny will start. Just really quickly. The second half against Crystal Palace in pre-season when Donny van de Beek came on, and this is what I'm clinging on to because there was just that chemistry. Honestly, I'm just clinging on to that. Like, if he can apply him the way he did then, bro, like we'll be cooking. I love that because Van de Beek is just, he's probably, if you read all his report cards, he's probably a teacher's pet. Like, he does what he's supposed to do. Like, teacher tells him do this. This is what he does on the pitch, and he was literally just connecting all the players together. I just love
Van de Beek, some might say.
Yeah, Van de Beek. Yeah, so I'd really love to see everyone has had a clean slate on the new manager. We've seen some of the average players from last season actually perform really well. And I think there's a potential that we could actually see some of the best of Donny van de Beek. We can finally get the player that we wanted. Just like how Rafael Varane, we all thought it was all but gone. He's revived him. It feels like a new signing all of a sudden. Dalot feels like a new signing. So I'm really, really hoping that we can get the best out of Donny.
I have a feeling you might be right on that one. Well, about yourself, Sam? Got more time for Garnacho, more time for Donny? Where's your head at with that?
Yeah, I'd love to see Donny. I thought he had a good cameo against Sheriff when he came on. I thought he was decent. From what I saw, some good runs he made, some really good interconnecting passing, which is what he's good at. He's a quality footballer when he's at his flying best. And yeah, I hope Ten Hag can bring out of him the Van der Beek that got him the move in the first place from Ajax. And I hope that's who we see. And yeah, time will tell if that happens. I'd love to see more from Garnacho. Been fantastic. I thought he was really bright, made some really intelligent, aggressive runs when he played. I think he was a threat all night on that sort of left-hand side when he played. So yeah, love to see more from Garnacho. Tenen Mengi's back in training. I think he played his first full 90 minutes for the reserves last week. So that'd be another good option. I thought that guy was built for the United first team. I thought that was going to happen. Obviously, he had a long-term injury, which sucked. But he played really well under Rooney at Derby. I thought he played really well under him. So I was hoping he was going to get his break this season. But obviously, injury sort of curtailed that. But if he's doing that, he gets a couple of 90 minutes under his belt for reserves. Maybe we can see him on the bench. Maybe see him get an opportunity. And then we can rest like Lisandro or someone like that. Do you know what I mean? It's another option in the centre back. So yeah, Tenen Mengi would be my pick. But yeah, be happy to see Donny and Garnacho as well.
If we can get the best out of Mengi, like, that guy has pace.
He's a unit as well. He's
very
a fucking
mobile,
unit.
extremely mobile.
And he's a unit. Yeah, he's like a proper athlete. Like, and I think he has some kind of record, like track record or something. Yeah. So he's mad pacey. Catch up with anyone that's trying to break. But yeah, I'm really hopeful.
I think Garnacho will be one because we were touching on before with the teams that we're playing tend to play a bit more of a lower block with him being that kind of tempo dribbler. Can beat a man 1v1. I think he'll be key. And likewise with Rashford and Anthony as well.
Garnacho's doing what I want Sancho to do. Like, he's going at players, he's dribbling past players, he's trying to take people on and make things happen. Sancho isn't doing that at the minute.
Well, Penny for his thoughts when we played West Ham in our last game, they brought on Fred, and then moved Bruno over to the right. I thought they might have gone with Jadon Sancho, but went a bit more defensive in that sense, and we held that for the 3 points.
Just wanted to shut the game down, didn't he? I just think that's what he was.
Final question, just a yes or no, if you can, lads. Confident we can cement a spot in the top 4 before the lads get on the plane to Qatar?
I think we might trip up in one of them. I think one of the games they might trip us up. It might cost us. I think we'll be 5th, but very close to the top 4. Maybe within a point or something like that. But I think
this weekend, I think Spurs play Liverpool and Chelsea play a big team as well. Like, it might be the other way around. I'm not entirely sure. Newcastle, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's points to be won there, and we've got a game in hand. I think we're 3 points behind Tottenham. Severe.
Yeah, we're a point behind. Yeah, we're three points off top 4.
A game in hand.
Yeah. Newcastle has a game in hand on us. I think it's really possible, just strictly just because of the fixtures that the other teams are playing. So I know Chelsea, Newcastle, and Spurs all kind of play themselves like very soon. So I know Chelsea and Newcastle play. Chelsea plays Arsenal this weekend, I believe. Is it this weekend?
Let me double check it. There's definitely 2 big fixtures on.
Chelsea plays Arsenal this weekend.
So Chelsea against Arsenal and Spurs against Liverpool.
Yeah, and then Newcastle play Chelsea.
Yeah,
next weekend. So if we just do what we're supposed to do, why not?
Absolutely.
Why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what happens with that. Obviously, we've got the weekend game. Aston Villa is on the Sunday because obviously we're playing Thursday night in San Sebastian against Sociedad. So don't forget, we'll have the preview for that tomorrow, guys, at 6:30. And obviously be live for the watch along at 5:45. I think it's an earlier kickoff on Thursday. That concludes the show, guys. Thank you for today. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and like the video. Follow us on social media if you like. All the links are in the video description, or the handles, are at the bottom of the graphic. Sam, thank you for coming on. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week and recover from your illness.
Yeah, donate to the Movember campaign. Links in the description. And then as the month goes on, our tashes get progressively worse and we look like dickheads.
Yeah, absolutely. And Severe, always a pleasure to have you on, man. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Perfect. We'll see you in the next one, guys. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. Take care. Peace.
Yeah.